Hello, everybody. For those, obviously, my name's Melissa. Just a little bit about my background. I have a degree in exercise science focusing on fitness and nutrition. I've worked for, I don't even want to tell you how many years in the fitness and nutrition industries, specifically 5 years. We're running a vitamin store. So I'm very, very, very familiar with a lot of the ingredients, hence why I'm here to kind of help everybody with their product knowledge. I decided to start with Slim as our very first product. As you know, we're going to do one per week on each call. I'm going to give you the basic information. I'll give you a little more detailed information. And then if you have more questions, of course, you can always message me, private message me anytime you want. Slim, obviously, everybody knows it was meant to regulate blood sugar. So that being said, there's a lot of background information that goes with insulin and blood sugar and things like that. So if you don't understand the core of that, just private message me later. It's a lot of physiology and stuff that I'm not going to get into on this call. But, the basics are, Slim was developed to regulate your blood sugar. Plexus has taken a holistic, whole body approach to making you healthier. It's not about weight loss. It's about bettering your body and getting it back to how it was supposed to function originally. Everyone loses weight differently, which is why not everybody has the same results in the same time frames. Some people lose weight or don't lose weight because of their metabolism. It can be a digestive issue. It can be a blood sugar issue. It can be, not eliminating waste. There's a variety of reasons, which is why I come up with 15 different products that really work together to get your body back to where it's supposed to be. So what I want to start with is the ingredients in Slim itself. It's the easiest product and the hardest product to kind of explain because it does so many things for our body. So I'm going to explain each ingredient because there's not very many, and then we can kind of go from there. And if you have any questions, just write them down and we'll go through questions at the very end. If I start to talk too fast, Amanda, interrupt me and let me know that I'm speaking too quickly. All right, so the main ingredient in Plexus Slim is going to be your green coffee bean extract. Many of you are probably very familiar with that. Extract is called chlorogenic acid, okay? Basically, that's a decaffeinated coffee bean. That means there's no caffeine in this. It's less than 2%. That is less than a cup of decaf coffee. So this is going to be safe for people that are sensitive to caffeine, have blood pressure issues, things like that. There is no stimulant in Slim, which is very, very, very important. Coffee bean extract, the chlorogenic acid, is known to help with lowering your blood pressure. It also, as far as blood sugar goes, it slows the release of sugars into your bloodstream after you're eating, which is basically going to stop your body from absorbing all of those carbohydrates as fat, as stored body fat, which basically your body does to use later on for energy. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. You'll hear me say that several times. I'm sure most of you are familiar with anti-inflammatories, but for those that aren't, that's what really helps with people that are struggling with a lot of pain, chronic discomfort, not specifically from injuries, but just from inflammation. It's also well known that cancer feeds off of inflammation. So I am a big believer that everybody should have some type of anti-inflammatory. Second ingredient is Garcinia cambogia. As a side note, I will let you know that some people are allergic to this ingredient. My mom has one of her friends who's allergic to it. So just know that if somebody messages you afterwards and says they're having allergic type reaction to it, it is possible that they could be allergic to this. Just an FYI. Basically, again, it's going to work on your blood sugar. It reduces the conversion of carbohydrates into stored body fat. Again, so it's stopping those carbs that you're eating from actually storing as fat, sugar as fat into your body. Basically, the way that it works is it stops and inhibits an enzyme that the body uses to make fat out of carbs. So by stopping that enzyme reaction from actually happening, that's what's going to stop the body fat from being stored, if that makes sense. This is also your appetite suppressant. I actually had to look this up as to why this works as an appetite suppressant because I wasn't aware of why, and I'm a why person, and I found out something very interesting. It actually has been studied and known to increase serotonin in your brain. So the happy feeling that you have. So in a roundabout way, that can actually be attributed to why it actually helps suppress your appetite. This is another reason why you should take this product 30 minutes before you eat. I know they say that you can take it after, but if you really, really, really want the optimal usage out of it and optimal benefit out of it, you need to take it 30 minutes before you eat. Now, some people do have problems with it, bothers their stomach on an empty stomach, things like that. Those are small people, you know what I mean? It's a small amount of people that actually have those problems. But for the majority of us, we need to take it 30 minutes prior to eating. The next ingredient is called alpha lipoic acid. Alpha lipoic acid is in a couple of our absolute ingredient. It has a few different functions in your body. In this particular product, it is to help convert glucose, your blood sugar, into energy for your body to use. So that way it's not stored, because if you're using it, you're burning it off, you're not going to store it, basically. It is also a very, very, very powerful antioxidant in your body, and it is another anti-inflammatory. Another property of it is it helps with nerve damage. Now, that'll come into play later on when we talk about nerve health, but just, as a side, understand that alpha lipoic acid is very, very, very good for helping with diabetic neuropathy, or, they get the pain in their feet from the nerve damage. Let's see. The next ingredient is chromium. Chromium is one of those controversial ingredients, to be honest with you. And the reason is because you only need a small amount, but it is an essential mineral, which means essential trace mineral, which means you need a small amount, but your body can't manufacture it. So you have to get it through your diet or through a supplement. So if you're not eating enough food that is loaded up with chromium, then you're going to be deficient in it, and that can lead to blood sugar problems. Now, there are a few different different forms of chromium out there. Ours is called polynicotinate, which is actually the most absorbable form. So it is the higher quality form of the chromiums that you'll find. I can tell you, in my vitamin store, we didn't sell this form. We sold the cheaper stuff. And I didn't know any better back then, but I've researched this, and it is a lot more absorbable, so it's a lot more high quality. It also will increase your sensitivity to insulin. Many of you may or may not know how type 2 diabetes starts or what happens, but your body becomes basically insulin resistant. Excuse me. So this is one of those things that will actually make your body a lot more sensitive to the insulin, which is what you need in order to get your blood sugar regulated. A couple of other side ingredients in there, just for your own knowledge, are the sweeteners. We don't have any artificial sweeteners in this product or any of our products. This one is sweetened with a product, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, but Lohan, however you pronounce that. It's a fruit. It actually is a natural sweetener, but it's very low on the glycemic index, so it can help regulate your blood sugar throughout the entire day. So that's actually a really good point, and I never even knew about this product before Slim came out, or before I knew about Slim. We also have a sweetener called stevia, which is also natural. It is an herb. Many of you might have seen it in your vitamin stores. I used to put it in my coffee. It also increases your sensitivity to insulin. So again, that's another added benefit to that one. So those are your basic ingredients in the Slim. Let me see here. Sorry, I made some notes here so I wouldn't forget anything this time. Some of the benefits that you're going to get from Slim, obviously blood sugar regulation. Your blood sugar plays such an important role in your entire body. Your blood sugar has a very important role in your liver function, and your liver alone is involved in 500 metabolic processes in your body. So that just tells you how important blood sugar actually is. Things like women seeing increased breast milk. That's not something that you would normally attribute to blood sugar, but the mammary glands are actually very sensitive to blood sugar, and that increases their function. So a lot of women will see an increase in breast milk when they're breastfeeding. Obviously, weight loss, but it can also help you gain weight if that's what your body needs. The majority of us need to lose weight. I was actually one that needed to gain weight when I found Plexus, and I was able to actually get my appetite back. It sounds funny that it's an appetite suppressant, but yet it made me eat. And the reason that it did that is because that's where my level was in my body. Everybody has a level where they need to be, where their body functioning optimally, and that's where mine was. And so that allowed me to get back to that point. Other benefits of it, it can help lower bad cholesterol, help you maintain healthy blood pressure, control your food cravings. That one's huge. The sugar cravings, again, that goes along with the serotonin release in the brain. Boost your energy naturally. Again, there's no stimulants in this, so a lot of people will report an increase in natural energy just because they're not as lethargic anymore. Their hormones are more balanced, things like that. Lower lipid levels. I mean, the list kind of goes on with Slim, and that's where it's kind of hard because you never know what you're going to get, what benefits you're going to get out of Slim until you actually start taking it. Obviously, when I present Slim to people, what I tell them is it's not a meal replacement. This is you just open up a little package, you mix it into 8 to 12 ounces of water 30 minutes prior to preferably breakfast every single day. Consistency is going to be key. Some people do go through detox. If you guys are not familiar with what detox symptoms are, get with me or somebody else that's more familiar with that, and we'll get you some information on that, because it's very important to tell your new customers about the detox symptoms so that they're not thinking something bad's happening when it's actually showing them that this is actually working. So if somebody comes to you as a customer and they've been taking Slim for a month, 2 months, maybe even 3 months, and they say, you know what, this isn't working, I'm not getting any results, there's a couple things that you can ask them. First thing is look for the non-scale victories. Non-scale victories are obviously things that you don't see on the scale, so it's not your weight. So for instance, are they sleeping better? Do they have more energy? Do they have less sugar cravings? Have they lost inches? Which you should be sending every person that signs up under you as a customer a measurements chart. If you don't have that, let me know and I'll send it to you. I send that to every one of my customers, and it's very, 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 very important for them to be doing measurements, not just weight. Less aches and pains. We have 3 ingredients in there that are for anti-inflammation. So it would make sense that they're feeling some type of relief from, minor aches and pains. I personally ask them for their regimen. What are you taking? How much are you taking of it? And how consistent are you? I will tell you 9 out of 10 people that say it doesn't work. They're not taking it properly, or they're not drinking enough water. If you're not with how much water you're supposed to be drinking, everyone's goal is to drink half your body weight in ounces of water. So up to 100 ounces. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds, your goal will be 100 ounces of water. Now, 8 to 12 of those ounces are going to be in your Slim alone. So, people think this is a huge goal, and it's really not. It's very, very, very achievable. Let me see. Does anybody have any, I know I've gone kind of fast because I don't want to keep you here forever. I know Amanda has some things to say. Again, Slim is just one of those things that there's such a wide variety of benefits that you can get from it. You just don't know until you take it. I've heard so many miraculous. What's that? Does anybody have any questions about any of the ingredients, how Slim works, or anything like that?
I had 2 questions for you, Melissa.
Okay.
The first one was, is there anything in the ingredients that would cause nauseousness?
I would say if it's not a long-term thing, if this is a newer customer that's just starting it, that's probably a detox symptom.
It was during a 7-day trial, and she got maybe 2 or 3 days. She got nauseousness and diarrhea.
That's detox. Yeah. Do you have the list, the document? There's a document on Plexus Power Tools about what detox symptoms are.
I don't think I do.
I'll send that to you if you shoot me a text with your email. I'll send it to you.
We can post it in Kelly's team page if it's not in there yet.
Yeah, I have it. But can you just touch on that a little bit? You don't have to go into that whole thing, but can you explain to them why they may detox from taking the Slim really quickly?
Well, it's cleaning out your system. I mean, there's a difference between detox and die-off, and I know a lot of people get those really confused, and they're not interchangeable, but they do have a lot of the same symptoms. Die-off is specific to the probio 5 with the candida. Your detox is, your body is, number one, it's inflamed. I mean, we have 3 ingredients that work for inflammation. So getting rid of that inflammation is going to detox your body. So you're cleaning out your system, so to speak, and your body is trying to figure out where its balance is. So you can get headaches, you can get lethargy. I personally had headaches for 3 days. When I first joined, I thought, oh man, I'm not doing this. Like, this just doesn't work. And I'll be honest, if my parents didn't love it right away, I probably would have not continued taking the Slim. Because I feel good for 3 days. But obviously, I don't have a great diet. So those were things that my body needed to kind of wipe out of my system. So headaches, nausea. I've actually heard of some people with itching and things like that. But again, be very careful with that because it's possible they could be having an allergic reaction to the Garcinia. I don't think that's common, but it's a possibility. Let's see, what else is there? Kind of brain fog, things like that. Basically, everything you think Slim is going to fix might actually get worse before it gets better. But that's typically a sign that your body is actually working and detoxing from these things and ridding your body of all these toxins. So it's something that they have to push through. The more water they drink, the quicker it's going to pass. Marlena, did you have another question?
I did. It was in relation to breastfeeding. Is there anything that in the ingredients that would not be good for breastfeeding? I mean, obviously, we always recommend they talk to their doctor, but obviously that's a huge concern for breastfeeding mothers.
My personal opinion is absolutely not. I know that there are doctors out there that don't approve it. That's typically, to my knowledge, just pregnant women. And that's always because it's not FDA approved, which the doctors don't realize they're they're prenatal vitamin FDA approved. There's a lot of, well, that's a whole nother conversation. But to my knowledge of the specific ingredients that are in here, absolutely not. There's nothing that is going to be passed on to the child that's going to be unhealthy to them. One thing that I really love about Plexus, as opposed to what I'm used to in a vitamin store and what you may have been used to seeing in a vitamin store, is these are simple formulas. You're talking 4 ingredients in most of our products. So, I'm a believer that the less ingredients and the more you can pronounce them, the better they probably are for you. And so I think that it makes it a little bit easier to say, yes, this is going to be okay for you because there's only 4 main ingredients in it. So no, I don't think there's anything in it that's going to harm a breastfeeding mother. And I'm on there's a Plexus and Pregnant group, in case you're not aware of that one. There's a lot of
I'm on that one. Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome. Did anybody else have a question about anything that you missed? Any issues that you're having with customers who may or may not like Slim, or questions you can't answer for them?
Don't be afraid to speak up.
You mentioned at the meeting, Melissa, about putting it in juice or putting it in something else. Can you touch on that a little bit too?
Yeah, absolutely. I like the flavor, but everybody has a different palate. So me, for instance, I like mine with just 8 ounces of water. That's it. And I will tell you, it mixes better with lukewarm water, meaning tap, whatever. Cold water, not cold water. The cold water actually makes it a little clumpy. So I'll tell you, it's a little bit easier to mix it with room temperature water. But for instance, my parents put grape juice in there, completely changes the flavor. They've used white grape juice. If you use lemon juice, that really gets rid of the flavor because it's not the acidity in it will actually kind of balance out. I know that's a big issue for pregnant women since when we're pregnant, a lot of things don't go down very well. So there's a whole article or a whole page about different things that you can mix it in. Some people even mix it into our P96 shakes. I've never tried that, but I've heard of that, and I've heard it's actually pretty good. So yeah, you can play around the flavor. The more water that you put in it, the less flavor it's going to have. So the more watered down. So if it's too strong for you, add 12 ounces, add 16 ounces, whatever you want to do. It is not recommended to put it into warm water though, or hot water, because it could actually take away some of the ingredients basically by, we'll say, cooking them, so to speak.
Melissa, this is Terry. I have a question.
Go ahead, Terry.
Okay. The question is, one of my teacher friends is diabetic, but he mainly controls it by his weight, and he does well in his diet, and he looks great. But he said he also has high blood pressure. Not much, but just a little bit. He's not on medicine, but he has to watch it. He said that the green coffee bean extract raises his blood pressure. Have you guys had any knowledge of that?
No, actually, I don't know. It actually is supposed to lower your blood pressure. So that's actually the exact opposite of what it's supposed to do. The only thing
Right, because he's been on, okay, I just didn't know because he's actually tried, which is interesting. He said he was actually on many of these individual ingredients, which I thought was interesting. But he said he heard about this one, tried it, and his blood pressure raised. So could that be even a die-off of that, where he needed to get through that?
That could be possible. I can't tell you 100% on that one. I personally have never heard of this.
It was actually a stimulant. I think that's it's like a green coffee bean pill or something like that, and I think there's additives in that. I don't think that's actually like a derivative of
like an extract.
Yeah.
Okay. It's probably right. It's probably a combination.
Yes.
I'm going to ask him about that and let him know that he needs to maybe give it a try, because he was interested, but that concerned him because I guess he did a lot of research. So this research came up with, he says, I am on these ingredients, but the one I couldn't take, so maybe that was what it is. So I will definitely, thank you, Kelly. That's good information for, because I always thought it lowers your blood pressure, but he said, but that might be it. He might have had it in pill form.
Yeah.
And it may not be the extract. That's excellent information. Thank you very much.
I might want to touch on that. I don't know if you remember, I posted maybe about a week ago in our page about that I had a customer who got on it because of high blood pressure. And she had gotten hers to a normal range, and it's now raised it since she's been on it for about 2 weeks.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Nick.
My own personal experience. Mine, I have high blood pressure as well. It runs in my family. Everybody has it. But mine is, for the first couple, probably 3 or 4 weeks even, my blood pressure went up a little bit as well. And just shortly after that, mine dropped a little bit. And over the course of probably the next month, it dropped probably about 8 or 10 points lower than it was before I started. It took a little bit of time, though. It wasn't something that happened instantaneously.
I think with that, a good, and I'm glad you said that, Nick. I think that it could be attributed to your body. Again, your body's been screwed up. Let's just be honest. It's full of toxins, it's full of problems, and it's trying to find its homeostasis, so to speak. So it's trying to find that balancing act again, and it's going to take a little bit of time. I think I misunderstood the first question as far as I thought he was actually taking Slim, and that's what happened, but no, over the long run, it should absolutely decrease it, unless they're on some other type of product. Nick, I know you started with a couple of other things, so perhaps it was something in one of the other products that maybe attributed to the increase in the blood pressure. But I personally think that unless something where it's uncontrollably high, then it's something that they should try to continue on and see what kind of happens. Because a lot of us, it takes us a little bit longer to get our bodies back balanced again. And make sure they're drinking enough water. That's a huge thing for blood pressure. If they're not drinking enough water, their blood pressure could very possibly go up as well. There's a lot of explanations for that, I suppose. But no, green coffee bean extract itself should not increase your blood pressure.
And like you said, with the homeostasis, your body tries to maintain a certain level. It tries to maintain a glucose level. It tries to maintain a weight level. It tries to maintain all of the different numbers, the pH balances, and all of that in your body through things called compensatory mechanisms. And when you change one of those things, it takes your body a little bit of time to recognize that that's going to change before it allows it to change. That's why a lot of people, it takes them a month or 2 months before they really start seeing anything like weight loss with these products, because the body's trying to compensate. The body's trying to maintain homeostasis instead of allowing itself to change, because it's going, no, wait, this isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very good explanation. Terry, I don't know if he was, again, I thought he was on Slim. If he's taking something else, you could certainly ask him what he was taking, and I'll be happy to look at the label and see if there's something else in it that should be doing it. But there is no stimulant in this. I mean, that shouldn't be happening as far as a direct result of it. But as Nick and I were explaining, as far as your body trying to level back out, that can happen with Slim. That can be why people don't see weight loss for sometimes 4 months, and then all of a sudden, we were talking about that this morning, somebody didn't see any weight loss for 4 months, and then all of a sudden they lost 40 pounds or something like that. So yes, it can take a little bit. You didn't do this damage to your body overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight, especially with more natural products.
Right. What I think I'm going to do is ask him exactly what everything he's on, because maybe it's a combination of that, or maybe he actually did. Maybe he was drinking actually a green coffee bean. Could you actually be drinking that as a tea?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I'll
ask him a little bit.
Tea, but that doesn't mean it's
right. I think I'll ask him a little more detail on it, because that might have been also.
No, my experience, I didn't swear. We had probably 10 different variations of the green coffee bean extract, and a lot of them, as Kelly was saying, were paired up with something else. For instance, green tea, because green tea is very good for you. It's an antioxidant, but it does have caffeine in it. So that could, if it was paired with that could be a reason why his blood pressure was increased.
And what you just said, depending on whether he was taking an extract or whether he was drinking green coffee, those are two different things. The extract is, Melissa told you the name of the acid, I can't remember what it is, but it's not the whole bean. It is a part of the bean that they've chemically extracted for the positive properties that it has, as opposed to the entire bean, which also has negative properties attached with it. It combines them, or it takes them apart and makes them a positive effect and takes away the negative effect.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick.
I just wanted to say that we put Melissa's grandmother on Slim. She's been taking it for 2 months now. We've been having issues with her blood pressure all over the chart, high and then low. And she was even hospitalized once for blood pressure issues. And the doctor has no idea why that's happening. And we started her on Slim 2 months ago. Yes, she still has issues with it going up and down, but not nearly the range of fluctuation that she was having before she started the Slim. And again, it's only been 2 months. So we're assuming that at some point it'll level out and she'll be at a good blood pressure. But her energy is so much better. The color in her skin, she's 86 years old. She's not lethargic. She is more focused. Her skin tone is actually skin tone now instead of old lady gray, which was a joke between us. And she's a lot more alert when we come to visit. So it's made a huge difference in her over just the 2 month period. And we're still hopeful that the blood pressure will resolve itself as well. But the range of fluctuation has really diminished.
Awesome, Bev. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else have anything they'd like to ask in regards to the Plexus Slim, or share anything?
I have a question. Has anybody ever heard of any, and I don't have a specific ingredient, but I asked somebody about the product and they said that they didn't like Plexus because it has cancer-causing ingredients. Anybody ever heard of any of the products being linked to cancer?
Amanda sent me that message. I can say confidence, no. And what I told her, my exact response would be, I'm sorry you feel that way, but for my own knowledge, I'd like to know which ingredients you're specifically talking about so that I can research them on my own. I will tell you that I've had at least one person in my past tell me that they didn't agree with some of the ingredients because they weren't healthy or I don't know, something to that effect. And I asked them specifically what ingredients, and they never responded back. So it's either one of two things. Either they're giving you a BS response, to be blunt about it, because they just don't want to deal with it, or they have misinformation, because there's a lot of misinformation about Plexus products out on the internet. And so that's why I would ask what ingredients they're specifically talking about so that we can address that. Because I would like to know.
Yeah, I know. Me too. And that's the problem. She didn't come back, but she did respond. She just didn't tell me specifically. My 3-year-old put me to bed. So she says, isn't natural and it's pumped with cancer-causing ingredients, yet it's on the FDA no-no list, but it's still approved. Whatever.
First of all, I know that's not true. And I will say this, I have on my personal team alone, I have numerous cancer survivors that their oncologists have approved our products. The X factor, number one, it helps with your body's pH and balance, and that's super important for cancer patients. The only negative ingredient we have ever used since 2009, since we've ever had these products, was an ingredient we had in the Accelerator. And Plexus changed that willingly.
Right.
When it was still approved. We were allowed to use that product. People still use that product. Thrive, from another company, uses that product. True Vision still uses that product. It's a stimulant product. We put it out voluntarily because we know in the long run it didn't fit with our plant-based home, like she was saying, natural line. So we took that out. And so we don't even use that ingredient anymore. So I know that that's not true. And I would totally align with that and say, I definitely want to know what you're talking about. So you find out the ingredient, and I will let you know if we have that in our products.
Okay. So
her last I give you 100% information on how to rebuke that because they're wrong, period.
I said, really, what ingredients are cancer causing? This is the first I've ever heard of that. And she said, I researched it a while ago when it first came out, and 4 ingredients, but she didn't name them, are camouflaged as safe but aren't, and they are the equivalent of poison. I'm just not interested. Most things that are too good to be true are. Anything like this and false promises that aren't natural probiotics aren't safe. That's what she said.
The simple fact of the matter is currently the motto here in America and really all over the world is that everything causes cancer. You could probably Google mashed potato carcinogen and find out that mashed potatoes cause cancer. It's ridiculous what people are doing with labeling everything as a carcinogenic. And it's to call it poison or to say that it is an FDA no-no, that's ignorant. Because if it's exactly what FDA, we're not putting it in our products.
Clearly.
Yeah. What? I said to us. Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to put that out there because that threw me for a loop. I was like, oh, yeah. I don't know how to respond to that one.
No, you did a perfect answer. Thank you.
If nobody else has any other questions about Slim, I think next week, if it's okay with Amanda, we'll continue with Triplex and we'll go on to ProBio 5. So during this week, if you guys want to write down any questions that you have specifically about ProBio 5, whether it's dosaging or what the specific ingredients, I know there's been some questions about the strains. I will research very fully this week for you guys. Whatever the questions are, if you can get them to me ahead of time, that would be very much appreciated. But I think
yes. Melissa, are you good?
I'm good.
I have a question.
Okay.
And this is really dumb, but I don't know what a lipid level is.
There's no such thing as a dumb question, right? My mother
too. Dumb because I don't know what it is either.
Okay. I've been not wanting to ask, but I have to ask. I have no idea what that is.
You asked in the perfect group, Suzanne.
Good.
your fats. That's basically a fancy way of saying your fat levels. I mean, you can get into more detail about it, but that's the layman's way to explain it. Just a
Your
fancy
fat
way.
level?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Lipids.
Oh, okay.
And the chlorogenic acid in the green coffee bean, that's specifically what targets the fat.
Okay. Okay.
To just a little bit more, what it's actually specifically referring to are the fatty acids in your blood. There are I know you've heard of like omega-6 fatty acids or omega-3 fatty acids. Cholesterol is also a lipid. They are basically, as fats are broken apart, they're broken into acids. They're called fatty acids.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
You can have an entire hour lecture on this. That's why I didn't want to get too much into the background of all of this, because I'm telling you, you could talk about Slim and the properties of all this for hours and hours. But yes, that's a very good explanation. Thank you, Nick.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions about the product? Plexus Slim. We're good. Melissa, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yes. And I do want to have to say that because I know that Melissa does share a lot of knowledge and we all turn to her with that. As she is teaching us, make sure that you are continuing to engage and learn, and that if you're not coming back and asking the same questions, because she also has her own business to run, and she is doing us a service by taking time out of each of us and sharing and pouring into us. So as long as we continue to do this, that I ask of you guys and ask of Melissa that you guys continue to, on your own time, also learn and kind of read up on the ingredients as she continues to pour into us, teaching us about the product. So don't always rely on Melissa to answer every single question. Once you kind of learn it from her, continue to, I always turn around and, say it back to the person because we all each individually understand things differently. So if Melissa says something, I'll say something back to him. Is this what you mean? And then, so at least you have an understanding of what she's explaining, because this is all a whole new world for all of us, but it's definitely very exciting and fascinating. We can probably, like Melissa said, talk about this all night. So I just want to make sure that we're mindful of her time and what she's doing for us, and that we continue to, research as much as she's researching for us. So thank you. Okay, so we're going to most of our call was talked about the product, so I will do my best to, finish this within the next 20 minutes. I think we're all right now in a part of our business where things are kind of we're all just floating right now, trying to figure out what we need to do next. And I think we're all at a point right now that we're having to step outside of our comfort zones. This for me, of course, I'm 2 years in the business, and this is my first time doing like a team Zoom call because of my fear of being the center of attention scheduled. So I just want to say that, as each of us are growing and learning as leaders, don't be afraid to overcome that fear. I think a lot of it has to do with believing in yourself. And so I feel that the past 2 years, that's one thing that I've been able to kind of, as I've been faced with challenges, is that it really has taught me to start to believe in myself. So, as I hear some of my downline vent to me about, this person saying no, or this person, not being open-minded, or people are not coming back and ordering the product, some of you guys get a little discouraged, which I understand, because you guys are early on in the business. But I think as you continue to believe in the products and believe in the business opportunity and yourself, those no's and those people that turn you down, they'll roll right off your back. Like you'll just move on to the next person. So I feel that, you know, I know that Annette has had a lot of struggles throughout her journey that she's been with us, you know, not having the support. But let me tell you, like, this past month, they had one of their best months, hitting like almost 700 PV, you know. So I told her, I was like, look how far you've come and how good you felt coming over all of that, regardless of all the challenges that you've been faced with. And that's because she still continued to plug in and day out, regardless of the challenges that she was facing. So I just want to say that at the end of the day, regardless of whatever you're going through, whether it be the business, customer, life, you really have to, you know, look at yourself and just have the belief. And with the belief, as you develop that, will also come the passion. So one thing that you have to ask yourself is, do you have passion? And I think throughout this journey, as you continue to pour into your business, your customers, and yourself, that the passion will start to grow. You know, I know that Melissa posted a text message or a message that she got earlier today, and there's like 5 people that shared that. You know, so, and everybody got super excited about that. So I think that if we continue to feed off of each other and share each other's excitement, I mean, we're all here for a reason. And that was either to, you know, make better choices for our health, make better choices for our family, and learn a little bit more about just the health and wellness aspect of it. So that right there continues to build the belief, and then comes the passion. So we'll have good days and bad days, you know, and I'll always be here. If you're feeling down, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I make a really good cheerleader, so we all really do. So I don't want you to get discouraged, regardless of whatever you guys face. Another thing that I know a lot of us, I learned on a diamond call that one of the girls said that if you're wanting to continue to grow in your business, that you're having to constantly live outside of your comfort zone. So I kind of feel like that's where I'm at right now for me, where, you know, I'm a senior Ruby working really hard for Emerald. I'm now at the point where I had to say, okay, I had to take a step back and evaluate my business and say, you know, we have to start doing these team calls. I have to start putting on online parties. I have to start putting on sip and sees for my team. And so as I continue to do those for you guys, I want to make sure that you guys start to also learn that. So I want to duplicate that process. I mean, and I know it takes time, trust me. 2 years in the business, and I've been able to get by, you know, very blessed to have gotten by this far, but it's now time for me to pick it up a notch, you know, for myself and for my team, for you all. So, you know, Tracy, I know you're there. She has had an amazing health testimonial since she started taking the Plexus product. So within this next couple of months, that girl is going to speak at an opportunity meeting, whether she likes it or not. So that's something that she's going to have to continue, you know, that I'm coaching her through to sit there to share and push her. And as we start to become leaders, you know, I may put you in an unfamiliar environment, an unfamiliar job. That's what I'm going to, you know, I'm going to challenge Tracy to that. You know, I know that Kelly has some girls on this call that, we know, we were talking about having to speak about product. You know, Melissa's not going to sit here and do an opportunity meeting for every single one of us on this call. Granted, she probably will, bless her little heart, but it's our job to try to learn the products as well. I mean, I know I'm speaking for myself that I want to feel comfortable enough to be able to speak at least to 1 or 2 products, and then Melissa handle the rest. Not really, but just kidding. But, you know, each of us have to put ourselves and challenge ourselves in unfamiliar environments. Okay, so in addition to that, I know some people, we're really trying to build up the team morale in each of our team pages, whether that be Kelly's team page, Aaron's team page, our team page. Hi, Chris. That we are going to start, you know, I know we've talked about it before, but I haven't really reinforced it, our team hashtags. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with when you guys go on Facebook and you guys actually can search almost anything in the search box. Like you can pull up anything, a hashtag, Plexus, and not only does it pull up, what you've posted or shared, but also pulls up what your friends have posted and then maybe strangers have posted. I know when I search it, there's people in my that pop up that I don't even know that have whatever I end up putting in that search engine. So whether it be like, I know we've created the Live Healthy, Love Life, Be Plexus team hashtag. If each of us use that or whatever hashtag you use, it will populate and then we can go through and comment and like. So I'm asking each of us to kind of show a little bit more support, because by us commenting and liking on each other's Plexus posts, whether it be a little smiley face or a like, that is allowing the people that don't see our posts very often, the non-Plexus people, to see the post more. Because, you guys are all familiar that Facebook puts, the comments and the statuses up on there that get most seen or most popular. Sorry. Repeat the team hash. Repeat what? What part? The hashtag. So I know I know each of us leaders have different hashtags. So, I don't know if Kelly's created one. I know within our team page, we've created I know a lot of people use it, but we just use Live Healthy, Love Life, the B Plexus, but we just use the first letter of each of the words. Kelly says she uses Team Smith. So by using those hashtags and you search it, you can see everybody that has use that hashtag, and we can go through and comment and like their post. One of my hashtags that I use for myself is One Pink Life. So I can go in there and see, who else has used that hashtag. I was asking for hers. Oh, gotcha. Kelly's used hers. Okay. Also, another thing that, since we're talking about Facebook, that when we're out and about sharing and talking about Plexus, one thing that I challenge you girls and guys is that as you're out sharing and talking about Plexus and you meet somebody new, the one thing that has been really big and helpful in my business is I ask if they're on Facebook, and I ask if I can friend request them, or I have them friend request me. So by doing that, it gets them on your news feed, and then you can reach out to them. So that's something that I know sometimes it makes for awkward conversation, but I probably add 2 new people to my Facebook a week just by communicating and, hey, are you on Facebook? And we'll add each other right then and there. So that's something that I encourage you guys all to do as well as you guys are sharing and talking about Plexus. One thing that I really want to say is that make sure that we're all consistently working the business. I mean, of course, I think everyone that's on here does a pretty good job posting and sharing, but if you kind of reached a plateau in your business, you really want to, reevaluate what it is that you're doing. You really want to ask yourself or reach out to any of us other leaders to say, hey, I've been doing X, Y, and Z and nothing's happened for me. So then, we'll end up talking about it and maybe trying something different. I know a lot of people have been trying to do 3-ways, and, nobody's either, if you haven't gotten a customer or haven't gotten your first ambassador, we talk about 3-ways, and then it's like, okay, well, how many 3-ways have you done? So, that's where you kind of need to start to ask yourself what it is that you can do different. And we're all here to help you. Melissa, Kelly, myself, any of the other leaders. And I encourage you to also reach out and start becoming sideline friends with other people that are outside our team, because they also can in turn help each of us. So I think that's pretty much what I want to cover for now. Next week, we'll be talking about income producing activities. If you guys have any questions about the three-way, is there anything that you guys have about three-way conversations?
My only thing with the three-way conversations is getting people to agree to it. Because, I mean, I have probably offered it to like 20 people, and like either people are like, oh no, I'm too busy, even though I say, oh, it'll be really quick. It'll only take like 20 minutes. They'll still be like, oh, you know, not now, maybe later. And then it's like, how many times do you have to go back and say, hey, what about that call we were going to do? Do you maybe want to do that? You know, and then you just feel like a hassle. You know, you feel like a hound.
Well, like today, for an example, I've been communicating with a customer of mine. So on and off, this is for an example. This customer ordered for me last month, and her and I have had our own conversation. She came back and asked me a question, and you know what I did? I straight up just reached out to Melissa and, hey, Melissa, I have a question. You know, one of my customers has a question real quick. Do you have a moment? And it was too much information. She felt like TMI question, but we're all girls here and we're in the health and wellness field. So I just threw all three of us in the conversation. I said, Danielle, meet my friend Melissa. Melissa, meet Danielle. And then I said, Melissa, you know, I explained her background, and then the conversation took off. So that's where I say maybe where you're asking about these three ways, you know, you're saying, hey, do you have time? Do you have a moment? If somebody comes back and says, you know, just asks a question, automatically add any of us in the leaders, you know, into the conversation without asking, so to speak. Because either way, we could start talking, you know, you can start having the conversation. And that's why I said my first year doing.
By three-way, you don't necessarily mean phone calls. You mean just conversation on Facebook Messenger as well.
Right. It could be a Zoom call. It could be like if you set up an appointment, it can be a Zoom call. Melissa, at our meeting today, she had a three-way conversation on the phone. She stepped outside the restaurant. Some people prefer maybe doing the messenger because they feel like they're less committed to it. You know, they can respond at their time. It's their pace, so to speak. But if you automatically throw any of us leaders maybe in the conversation, we could be there to answer their questions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. Maybe try maybe like one or two of the conversations that you're having where you automatically just give any of us a heads up first that you're going to do this, so we're prepared, and then try to see how that outcome is, since the approach that you're taking now is really not working for you.
Okay.
Because Melissa and I had a great three-way conversation, and I didn't tell her that she shared a little bit of personal information, and I didn't tell her I was going to be telling Melissa, and it got, she didn't have an issue with it. So just try maybe doing something different.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else like to share anything? We're 2 minutes over, and I just was trying to fit that in as quickly as possible. No one? Everybody's good? Annette? All right. Nicholas? All right. You're good? Kelly, did you want to add anything in there?
You did great, Odie. Your first team call. I'm so proud of you.
I think so too.
Yes. Thank you guys all so much. I'm trying to get a little bit.
Good job, Odie.
I don't mind being the center of attention unplanned, but when it's scheduled and I have to go up and speak in front of people, that's a whole different environment.
Yeah.
Hey, I think you need to solicit.
This is
I
like
think you
mommy
need to
birds, coming out of their nest. They're like spreading their wings and flying. So it's like, so bad.
Yeah, Brian, I can't even take you seriously on the Zoom call. You need to change your profile picture.
I think you need to solicit more male responses. You cater to the women too much.
You said girls a lot. I know. She said girls a lot.
I'll work on that. I'll put that down for you, Pruett.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian, on that one.
All right. I'm glad I got Nicholas. Giuliani, you got anything to add?
All right, guys. Well,
I'm good.
again.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for your time. And Melissa, thank you so much. We're going to be doing these every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to start doing these. And if there's anything that you guys want to talk about or share about, please send me a message and then we can have like a meeting over it and share with the team.
5 minutes on that hand.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah.